Isabella was tired of being invisible. She scrolled through Instagram and TikTok, watching classmates and influencers with thousands of followers living what seemed like a dream life. Brand deals, constant likes, fans showering them with compliments. She decided it was her turn to be seen. She would become famous in 30 days. Excited, she set her goal and began planning. Every day, she posted trendy dances, challenges, and carefully staged photos, hoping to capture attention. In the first week, her follower count started to climb, and with each new like and comment, Isabella felt a rush of validation. But as Isabella's audience grew, so did the demands. Every post needed to be better than the last, and every comment started to feel like a judgment. By the end of the week, she found herself scrolling through her own profile, critiquing every detail. Was she interesting enough? Pretty enough? Suddenly, the fun started slipping away. Instead of excitement, Isabella felt pressure, a new nagging voice that whispered, "You're only as good as your last post." By the second week, Isabella's follower count had doubled, but so had the hate comments. Try hard, fake, attention seeker, the comments read. She tried to brush them off at first, telling herself that haters would come with fame, but soon they got harder to ignore. Isabella found herself lying awake at night, replaying the insults in her head. She was spending hours trying to come up with the perfect replies, but the negative comments only seemed to grow. The dream of fame was turning into a nightmare. The hate started to chip away at her self-confidence. Isabella tried talking to her friends about it, but they didn't understand the pressure she felt to constantly be on and perfect. She realized she didn't just want to be famous. She wanted validation and approval. She started questioning herself and her worth, wondering if the people behind the comments saw something about her that she hadn't realized. Isabella's days were now a blur of filming, editing, and obsessively checking her notifications. She barely had time to see her friends, and even family dinners became rushed so she could get back to her content. Exhaustion weighed on her, but she kept pushing forward, telling herself that she was so close to making it. By the third week, she was running on caffeine and pure determination, but her videos started feeling hollow, forced. Despite all her effort, the number of likes began to stall. It was her younger sister, Leah, who finally called her out. "Isabella, you look tired," she said bluntly, "and you don't even seem happy anymore." The comment hit Isabella like a ton of bricks. She had been so focused on looking perfect for everyone else that she hadn't realized how miserable she felt. Her dream of fame had taken over her life, and she barely recognized the person she had become. One evening, Isabella sat down to record yet another video, but she stopped. She couldn't ignore the exhaustion any longer. She logged off and spent the night scrolling through old photos of herself from before she'd chased the dream of being internet famous. In those pictures, she saw herself smiling, genuinely happy, with no need for validation from strangers. Slowly, it dawned on her that the Isabella she'd been before was still enough, even if the internet didn't notice her every move. The next day, Isabella made a decision. Instead of chasing trends and trying to please everyone, she would post things that mattered to her. Maybe her follower count would drop, maybe she wouldn't be famous, but she needed to reconnect with herself. She posted a picture of her real, makeup-free self and wrote an honest caption about her struggles with self-worth and online hate. The response was different this time. People messaged her, thanking her for being real, for sharing something they could relate to. With each post, Isabella began to feel freer. She started sharing her hobbies and interests, not just things that she thought would get likes. She talked about books, her favorite songs, and things that made her laugh. She even shared a video about her experience with online hate and burnout, hoping it might help others in a similar situation. Her follower count stabilized, but she was no longer checking it every minute. She was learning that real influence wasn't about numbers. It was about being true to herself. Isabella felt like she'd finally found balance. Social media was no longer her whole life. It was just one part of it. She made time for friends, family, and activities that had nothing to do with likes or views. She wasn't famous, but she was happier than she'd been in a long time. And in a surprising twist, by being herself, she started gaining a new following, one that appreciated her authenticity. Isabella had learned the hard way that being seen by others meant nothing if she couldn't see herself.